This episode of Phone Booth Fighting, Frank, is brought to you by Low T Nation. The fine folks over at lowtnation.com week after week are changing Phone Booth Fighting listeners' lives one at a time. How does it happen? Well, they log on to lowtnation.com. They call the toll-free number, and they get a free telephone consultation to find out if they are a candidate for Low T Nation treatment. You want to know you're a candidate? I'll give you the basics. Maybe you're getting a little older. Maybe you're getting a little slower. Maybe you don't quite have the get up and go in all the places that you used to.
When your lady's kind of frustrated with you all the time, you just don't know why she's mad.
There could be that. There could be those issues.
The root of all the problems.
lowtnation.com is for you. All right, I directed you to the website. Now, Frank is going to explain what will come out the other end.
Well, by giving them a phone call, they give a consultation over the phone, see even if you're a candidate. If that's the case and you check off the appropriate boxes in their mind, they're going to send you to go do blood work at a LabCorp, where they have one in every state here in the U.S., almost damn near every city. And at that point, you go get your blood drawn. They'll have a physician look at it, cover it through, make sure that they get you the right levels of what's going to require to get you back on track, get the best results you can possibly have. And at that point, it becomes so convenient. They're going to ship it directly to your house so you can stay extremely consistent, which is one of the most important elements of the whole process.
Log on to the website. Won't cost you anything to do that, and give them a quick phone call. There are a couple of good Phone Booth Fighting listeners just like yourself that are handling things over there, and they'll be happy to talk to you. lowtnation.com, and tell them Frank and Richard sent you. This podcast, Frank, is also brought to you by Ellefson Coffee. My buddy Dave Ellefson from Megadeth has a coffee company with a metal theme, and that is perfect for the way that I live my life. Caffeinated and rocking 24/7. EllefsonCoffeeCo.com is the website. And I tell you what, you have been...
It's funny, with the coffee thing.
Yeah.
I like how we meet right there, because that's the most extreme thing you do.
That's true.
And it's the most mild thing that I do.
That's true, too. That's a very good point. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's true. Of the two of us, you'd think that the other one is actually the straighter of the two, probably.
Yeah,
right?
When most people see you, they're going to lock the door a lot quicker than they're going to lock the door with
That's
me.
right. When in reality, I'm the one that you want talking to the cops.
No, absolutely, 100%. If I got to get a character witness, you're
That's
my guy.
Right. How do I do it? Well, I stay on the straight and narrow with Ellefson's Coffee. Dave Ellefson is the founding bassist in Megadeth, who'll be out on tour this fall, and he's a great supporter of this show. And you could be a supporter of the show and enjoy some Ellefson Coffee by going to the website, EllefsonCoffeeCo.com. Enter the promo code PhoneBooth at checkout. That's going to save you 10% off your entire order. In addition to the different grinds and signature artist roasts they have there, they got some cool accoutrement, if you'll allow me to speak French for a moment. What's that?
Which one did you give me again?
I gave you the Kenya Thrash.
It's awesome stuff. Yeah. It really is, man.
Yeah, that's
I like it a lot.
Yeah,
I've been
that's
drinking
heavy
it in the
stuff.
morning.
Not for the faint at heart. Skid Row's got a signature brand over there. Queensryche's got a signature brand. Dave himself has like this really cool bullet thermos. It's got his face on it.
We need more of those
bass.
the nuts, though.
Oh, the Atomic Rocks.
I've gone through them.
I got a few right behind you. I'm going to ask our guest, Jessica, if you'll reach right up on that shelf. See those little yellow and black things there? All right, Frank.
Those aren't for display only, right?
Here's what I'm going to do, Frank, because we were in training camp this morning, and you trained really hard. I'm going to allow you 3.
Nice. 3 boxes.
No, 3 total. And what you might want to do is space them out over the course of the show.
Okay.
All right? So that's for being good today. All right. Check out Ellefson Coffee at EllefsonCoffeeCo.com. Support David and his coffee. Support the show. Remember to use that promo code PhoneBooth at checkout. All right, let's get this show rolling. We got to introduce Frank, who is in studio with us. Here's a hint. He just pulled a knife in her. You didn't pull it on you, Jesse.
Like,
in her general.
I have one in my car.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right.
This knife's not even adequate to her. She's like,
That's not a knife.
That's not a knife.
Those are the. That was the line from Crocodile Dundee. I recognized it. Yeah. Those are the charming tones of Jessica Rose Clark.
Well,
Jess, she is in studio with us. UFC women's flyweight fighter. She's got a fight coming up in June we're going to be talking about here and just getting to know her. Also, right over here to my right, if you're watching on the Phone Booth Fighting YouTube channel, that is the familiar face of the sneaker black belt, James Horn, who I had on top of me at a very early hour this morning.
Can you explain to him?
No,
I was going to leave it there.
No, just leave it.
Yeah, right? Let it breathe. Let it breathe.
Just let it hang there for a second.
Yeah.
I got you.
Yeah, no, we were over at Drysdale's and training, and it's interesting, Jesse. They James was working through an injury, so they assigned me to him, sort of like a rehab partner, like a therapy
Like a
dog
therapy
or
dog,
something like
yeah.
that, right? And I knew I was in trouble when James said, "Well, I think I'm going to be okay with my injury because if you get me in a bad position, I can just toss you." Yeah. So anyway, we had a good time this morning.
It was a good roll.
It was a good roll. We're going to have another good roll in the morning. We're doing
Absolutely.
it again tomorrow,
Absolutely.
right? Frank, you know about this, Frank, right? Your name is on the training camp, so
Yeah.
I want to make sure you do. Okay. All right.
I'm
see
aware. Tomorrow, 10 a.m.
you. Okay. All right. Don't look so happy.
Oh, come on.
Hey,
This is actually when the training starts to get more fun.
we're having a great time, right?
Oh,
We're
it's
having a
actually
great
nice to
time.
train when you're in shape.
Yes. Having a great
Training when you're
time.
a fat slob is shitty.
Good spirits. Everybody's excited. And the fight, as we tape, is 2 weeks from tonight.
Yeah.
2 weeks from tonight. This time, 2 weeks from tonight.
Raining.
That's right. We'll be in Chicago at Allstate Arena. One of the two hosts of this podcast will be getting ready to fight a heavyweight Russian.
Well,
And the
we'll both
other
be on
one will be
stage.
cheering very loudly. What?
We'll both be on stage for the weigh-ins.
Well, yes, we will. That will have actually occurred the night before at this point, right? That
No,
will be on
today's Friday, isn't it? No, what's
Today's
today?
Saturday.
Saturday.
Oh, shit,
my
sorry,
gosh.
dude.
Yeah. That's why you bring in a backpack specialist.
See, that's
Rest
exactly
assured. No, that's right, Jesse. That'd
Yeah.
be my job is to keep track of
Keep
what day it
everything
is.
running smooth. Yeah.
Yeah,
You're right.
because we don't want to realize all of a sudden that the weigh-ins were like 24 hours prior and we forgot to go.
Yeah.
That would be terrible.
Yeah.
All right. So first, Jesse, welcome. And
Thank
it's
you.
great to have
Thanks for
you.
having me.
And I have to say that we have rescheduled you more than I think we've ever rescheduled any guest, and we apologize for that.
Canceled a lot of
I
days.
feel like Frank rescheduled me
Yeah. Well, it was.
for you.
I'm
Yeah.
the flaky one.
Yeah. No. Well, Frank had a lot of. There was
I'm a little busy.
I
stuff
get it.
going
No,
on,
I get
and
it. I get
training
it.
and all that, and so anyway, you were
Flying
very
around.
patient with us, and appreciate you coming in.
Thank you.
Yeah, no,
Because-
thanks for.
Yeah, because
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so we always like to have in studio guests, and you're a Vegas local now, right? You moved to Vegas.
Yes.
And train at Syndicate,
Syndicate.
MMA.
Yeah.
Cool.
I've been here for 2 years now.
Awesome.
So
Awesome.
just gonna find someone to marry me so I can stay here permanently.
Oh yeah.
If you guys know anyone, it's
is
completely
the-
legit.
How much time do we have left? Do you know?
What do you mean?
Well, like to pair you up.
I still have another year on my visa.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I have plenty of time.
Yeah, because I mean, we don't want to just stick you with anybody. Is
No,
what I'm saying. You
no.
know, so we want to. That you know what? That's not a bad project for the show. You know,
We
do a
just
little
might have to
matchmaking.
erase this episode.
Yeah, yeah, I know. Half of it was before we even started recording.
When we aren't recording anymore, I'll tell you actually a funny story about that.
That's right. That is a funny story. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, maybe, you know, if we have a year to work on it, we'll play a little dating game here on the show. See if we can pair you up with somebody.
Yeah, I'd be down for that.
Because we don't want to lose you back to Australia.
I don't want to go back to Australia.
Yeah?
I love it, but I
Yeah.
love Vegas.
Yeah. Had you lived in Australia your whole life up to that point? Or
Correct.
did you live other places? Yeah.
No, always Australia.
Okay.
But I traveled around so much, I've kind of lived everywhere there.
Yeah, yeah,
You know, and
yeah.
I love it, but I much prefer the desert. Like I've been home, I think 3 times now, and I hate it every time I go home.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't handle the humidity anymore. I don't like mosquitoes. Like,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, you don't get those here.
No,
No.
no mosquitoes.
My dogs were very happy
Jellyfish,
when we moved to Las
bullet
Vegas
ants.
because
Yeah.
because like no fleas, no ticks.
Yeah,
'Cause
it's great out here.
yeah, I'm from Texas originally, and you have to worry about all that
Mm.
kind of stuff with them. And the dogs were like, "Hey, what's up? We haven't gotten our monthly flea meds." And
I don't
I'm
think I
like,
could ever
"Don't eat
live
'em."
anywhere there's mosquitoes, just because, you know, mosquitoes hunt down carbon dioxide. That's what they see.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm such a large, you know, I'm a heavy breather.
You're an easy target.
Oh, dude, like I'm a fucking like ringing the dinner bell. Like if we go somewhere, I'm like, you got mosquitoes here? Like if there's only like 4, like they're gonna find me. Like I get eaten alive. And then also too, I'm allergic to them, I guess. So when I get bit by them, I get the nasty like
hives.
I look like I got like I'm a leper. You know what I mean? Like it's awful.
Yeah.
They're the worst creature alive.
I hate
Yeah,
mosquitoes.
absolutely.
Yeah. So you've got your neck. By the way, are we good on the mic? Everything with her?
Yeah, she sounds great.
Okay, cool. Okay.
Why, thank you.
Yeah. So we got your next fight made, and it's going to be in June.
Correct.
Yep. And that's going to be against Jessica I.
Yep.
Okay. I'm going to show off for a second before we talk about the specifics of the show or the fight. So everybody get ready. Don't ask me how I know this, but as I comb the recesses of my mind as an amateur MMA historian, I believe, and I've not verified this in my archives, but I believe that this is going to be only the second time in UFC history, only the second time that a fight has occurred between two people named Jessica. I think it has only happened one other time. And the reason I remember the first time is because I made a stupid big deal about it the first time.
Who was the first time?
I knew you were going to ask me that.
Right, yeah.
'Cause I know Jessica Andrade,
Yeah.
Jessica Penne.
I think it
Did
was
they
that
fight?
fight.
Yeah.
I think it was that one. Yeah. Yep. So, now it could have happened another time and it slipped by me, but I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
I don't think so. There's not that many of us.
Yeah.
Well, there's 4. I guess technically that's a lot.
Yeah, I mean, eventually you just keep fighting each
Yeah.
other, and then there'll be like a Jessica champion.
Yeah.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
It's
It's
weird
me.
how names rotate because Jessica is a popular name. Like me growing up, I mean, come on, how many? You usually probably had to go by Jessica R. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, yeah.
most of Jessica, Lisas, and Sarahs that I went to school with, we had like 4 in every classroom.
Yeah.
So then, when I had Isabella, I named her Isabella thinking, oh, that'll be easy. And now she goes to school and there's no Jennifers, no Jessicas in any of her classes, but there's like 8 different Isabellas.
Yeah.
How old is she?
14.
Yep, I got a 14-year-old sister called Isabella too.
Oh, there you go. See, it was worldwide at the time.
At the time, I thought I was being,
Yeah.
that's cool, Isabella,
But-
Bella. Now it's like,
Let me tell you why Jessica is my favorite UFC Jessica, though. Because she goes by
'Cause
Jessie.
I'm here?
Well, sure, there's that. Yeah, you're the one that would show up for the podcast. But you go by Jessie.
Correct.
And I am a huge fan of the androgynous girl name. I love it. Like Jessie, Andy,
Yeah.
Randy, like
Charlie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's awesome.
Frankie.
Yeah. No. Yeah. I always like that. So I think that's a good move.
Cool,
on
I'm
your
down with
part.
that.
so
Absolutely.
if you ever had a child, you would have named them an androgynous.
It's funny you say that
Well, we're gonna
because
stick
I
to
don't have any kids and no plans to. But I will tell you, if you could, I would halfway consider right now if you could guarantee me that I could have a girl. I would have one just so I could name her Stormy Daniels Hunter. Be a good bit, right?
You know what's funny?
Good,
She's
good,
at,
good.
Do you know what? It's funny. Hold on. Thank God my wife doesn't listen to this. I just was on an adult website. Sorry, dude. Pornhub, it's free.
No,
Screwed
oh,
over.
that one. I started to say, no,
So-
you're supporting his craft.
No, I actually screw over his craft all the time, right? So, anyways, I clicked on it, and guess, lo and behold, an ad came up for Stormy Daniels, where she's doing webcamming. I'm like, wow, she's really cashing in on this.
Yeah.
She's like, you can ask me anything. That was her shtick on there.
Yeah.
I mean, if you log in, I'm like, oh wow, look at her.
So what did you ask her?
Oh, I'm not logging in on that shit. I don't
He's not
spend
allowed
money.
to have the credit card.
Okay, now look, I was born and raised in Vegas, and I have never ever spent money on a female. I mean, I've spent more money on my wife. Like I'd probably be cheaper if I would just go down that route and just spend money on prostitutes. But there's a part of me because I worked in strip clubs for
Yeah.
many, many years, seeing guys that pay for women that I can't do that. Like so, like if my wife ever, left me and passed away, and that was the only thing I was left to is have to pay for it, I still wouldn't pay for it. Like there's a part of me just I can't deal with that mentally.
Yeah.
Like,
Look at Mikey over here. Mikey's day job, for the listeners of the show, they know this. Mikey's day job is shooting porn. And it's a man who's, I mean, he's afraid of his career literally going away to the internet, and he hears.
and
some
I'm one of
news
those people that
like
screw
that.
him over. But I'm telling you, I would get a subscription if the wife would let me. Just what, $9 a month or something.
We're
like
working on a podcast.
because then
sponsor.
I'm into plot. I like storylines.
Right.
I'm that guy.
That's another thing we don't have.
I love
You're the only guy I've ever. I don't.
No, I love listening to
James,
the pizza guy delivery. Like I want to hear what he's saying. Like if I fast forward, I get so mad. Like all of a sudden he's banging. I'm like, okay.
How did we get to this?
Like, okay, he's banging her in the ass. Like I missed something here.
I don't know, Jesse, if you're aware of the thing called pornography.
Wait, there's porn?
But there is, and
Yes.
and it
Dirty
offends
little
James's
secret.
Christian sensibility, so I'm not going to bring that up to him. But let me just say that of the two who have seen it, but you are the only guy I know that longs for plots and porn.
I love
Normally,
it.
that's
I have
a
to
great.
say, you're the only guy I've met who likes the plot.
Like I even buy like the parodies,
Yeah.
like the Simpsons
Pirates.
Yeah, where they go in there and they'll have like the Pirates of the Caribbean. That was a really well put together
like
one. Too.
that one.
That was well done, dude. Like I'm serious. I mean, it was like $70 to buy the DVD.
Speaking of Jesse's,
yeah,
there was.
that's true. There was. The Simpsons. I think I have or Family Guy.
That would drive. Okay, I cannot. It would totally ruin watching people have sex for me if somebody's wearing a Marge Simpson wig. Why would you do that?
She was painted yellow too.
I don't even want that for myself, let alone watch it in a movie.
I got issues, man.
Boy, you have different kinds of issues.
Yeah, but at least my issues are harmless.
Yeah.
I'm not like strangling.
No, I'll give you
anybody,
this because the
unwillingly.
creepiest answer I ever got out of this whole that kind of conversation. I used to work in radio with a guy who told me we were having this discussion about like what kind of porn do you like, and he goes, yeah, I don't like the super slick produced stuff. I like the gonzo stuff where it's like point of view. It looks like somebody just shot it on their camera, and then he goes, and I like it. He goes, I like it when the girl looks like she's still a little uncertain of what's going on.
She's not into it.
It's like, oh my God, you
That's
sir
actually
need to
something
be.
I don't like. I hate
monitored.
point of view.
Oh yeah,
First person.
Yeah.
I mean, because I never done that. I never, put my I'm the guy. It's like I don't do that. I'm actually I'm a voyeur. You're watching two people. I think it kills it.
It's hard to shoot too.
Yeah, I
It
can
is,
imagine
Mikey.
being
It's hard to shoot.
you got to be the guy. So
I've
you like
been
on
there.
Do you
top.
have to go like up underneath?
No,
Yeah.
I don't do that. But like I've been like
You've never had to do that.
no, go up and under.
Yeah,
no.
those shots where they're like,
No,
Right?
You get like
I've
dripped on.
gone like so
But
the
so,
guy
like-
so the guy's standing. I'm up on a step stool unless
Over his shoulder,
the guy's
right?
short behind him, basically like this, holding the camera.
so he's like bumping up against you while she's riding him.
Right, we have to. And I've also done.
So like
If you
while
have the-
he's
if you have a
having sex with the
PA,
girl,
yeah.
he feels you on his back.
I try to suck it in.
What if
and-
you're really sweaty as well?
That's
Mike,
why.
Mikey's
He's
got
got a big
Mikey's-
beard, so like your beard's on
It's
the
like
back
rubbing
of the
on
guy's
his neck.
like-
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm like
Mikey's holding the camera. He's got the hooks in.
Right?
yes, it's
Body
pretty
triangle.
close, yeah. That's why and we shoot VR stuff. It's like that too. That's when I started carrying deodorant in my kit because I'm like, oh God, because we do like 4 or 5 sets of photos, and then by the time sex is done, I've been working for like 6-8 hours, and I'm like, Dad, I shouldn't be like a foot away from these people, like so I head in the bathroom, like re-odorant, and then back in there. So it's, yeah,
That's
POV
why you know
sucks
what
to
though.
shoot, yeah.
Honestly, I mean, all jokes aside,
Yeah.
but being an adult male porn star,
It's super hard.
dude, those guys mentally. I mean, I know everybody's like, I would do it in a heartbeat. I'm like, bullshit, bro. All jokes aside, being an adult male porn star is difficult.
Yeah.
I guarantee you, 99.9% of the guys watching porn could not do it.
Well,
sure.
and especially
sure.
especially back in the day before
Yeah,
the Viagra and the
yeah.
Cialis and everything. That there was a reason why there were only 4 guys in
Yeah.
porn, and Ron Jeremy and 3 other dudes, and it was because they could perform, without the
Yeah,
pharmaceutical.
we talk about performance
enhancement.
anxiety. You're with a hot girl, I mean,
If
most
you're
guys,
lucky.
With 25 people watching.
Yeah.
and you got Mikey with his beard over your neck. You know what I mean? Or like the VR stuff, because
Yeah.
basically like the guy can't move and stuff,
Yeah,
right? Like
they don't let him move
he can't look and see what
because
he's looking.
people when they watch VR, if the guy's hand moves, they're like, "Hey, I didn't tell the guy's hand to move." Like that's kind of weird.
That's creepy.
Yeah,
You're that
and
into
so,
it.
It
Yeah,
is.
Oh, wait, I haven't seen this one.
VR
Oh,
is
no,
like-
what's
virtual
that?
reality.
Yeah, I know what VR stands
yeah.
for, but I don't
Oh,
understand
okay.
what the porn
Pornography are
is.
basically like you're seeing the porn through the guy's eyes. So he'll have like glass goggles on recording.
Oh,
So that's what
okay.
he's saying. So if you
you
get-
got to sit really still.
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's
That's
weird.
cool.
And then the guy,
I don't know if
also,
I'd be into that.
He can't
Yeah.
see. We actually did a test.
I'd be the
with,
guy? if I'm doing VR.
Well, we did a test where the girl laid
We're
down.
going this one.
Well, if you're the viewer.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I'd be on the
perspective.
point of view of the
Right.
guy. That's
Now,
what I mean. I don't know if I'd
well,
be.
here's the
Yeah, I
thing.
don't know.
You
Do they
could
have any
get-
girl
you
point
could
of
get
view?
We
the girl-
tried that, and girls didn't like it because it felt like
You're just staring at the guy's.
yeah, it looked weird, and they felt like kind of like it was forced on them.
Yeah,
'Cause
why
the
would I
guy is, like,
choose-
sitting there like. Just like a face coming in and out.
Not to mention the fact that you're not only looking at that, but there's Mikey's head right over his shoulder.
I'm thinking there's a reason why most women close their eyes during sex. You know what I mean? It feels good, but I got to imagine the visual. I never
It's
thought
not
about-
always the nicest thing.
Yeah, you got us on top of them with that look in our face where it's like, you know what I mean? Like,
Especially if it's not like an attractive dude, you know?
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So an equal
Yeah, that was-
opportunist. You're like,
Yeah.
I try to be aesthetically pleasing. You know?
I'd like to think that people haven't been,
You know where I-
disappointed with having to look at me during sex.
You know where I think it comes from is the comedy stage, because I do stand up, and like I'm very hyper aware of like just the slightest gesture on my face and stuff like that, because crowds react to
Yeah.
it. So a smirk, an eyebrow raise, a smile, something like that.
I'm aware of my face too. That's why when I finish, I do the face in the pillow.
Oh right.
Because I know that I look like a retard. When
Are we still talking about stand up or when you're having sex? Yeah. Frank's actually done stand up a couple of times. So hey,
so when the finishing shot
yeah.
comes during sex,
Yeah.
I go and bury my face somewhere because I don't.
Yeah.
want
Oh, you bury your face.
Yes.
Oh.
cry, cry consolably.
I like where your head is though.
Hey, but before I get back to fighting, quickly, speaking of comedy, because I just remember this breaking news here. I can't announce a venue yet or anything, but I have an on-air question for Frank. Do you want to do stand-up at our podcast taping in Chicago?
Sure.
Okay. Boy, that's a guy who's not going to let the fact he's got to fight 2 days later
Yeah, right.
ruin
Mental
his
fortitude, man.
burgeoning
Hey.
stand-up career. Okay.
I just get complimented to male porn stars.
Yeah.
I should be able to tell some jokes
Okay.
up on stage.
All right.
We'll see about performance anxiety.
Chicago listeners of Phone Booth Fighting, get ready. We're going to do, I can't tell you the venue yet because we're finalizing the details, but it does look like on Thursday night, April 26th, which is the 2 nights before the fight at Allstate Arena, Frank and Fedor, we're going to do a live podcast taping. So that's the two of us, and I am going to go out on a limb and say probably a very special guest, and more on that on our next episode. We'll get it all announced. But anyway, just go ahead and save the date, as they say when you get engaged.
Think we get Fedor to come?
April 26th. What's that?
Think we can get Fedor to come show up?
You know what? We could invite. You know what? That might be some good psychological warfare. Just inviting Fedor and confusing him. Like, I would imagine by the time they can actually explain to him what it is we're inviting him to, that it's a podcast, but Frank's there, and we're going to tape it live, but Frank's going to do he's going to tell jokes, and then I think that could be very distracting to him. Let me put together a plan,
We'll throw it his way.
psychological warfare.
Give it to CJ.
Jesse, are you big on psychological warfare? Do you put much thought into that kind of stuff when you got a fight coming up?
I make a lot of jokes, but I never do the intimidation thing that I see some people do.
See,
I don't really talk shit about people. I just talk my truth about people.
See, what I'm guessing you could, and this is to me a rare skill when it's done right, is because you have a very pleasant personality, being able to do like the passive aggressive thing where you're really working somebody and they don't even realize they're getting worked. You know what I mean?
That's usually how my insults go.
I like that a lot. Very nice.
People go, "Oh, she's so funny." Wait, what did she just say?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So you're going to fight Jessica I. It's going to be in June. Where's the fight?
Singapore.
Oh, yes. Far,
Yay.
far away. Singapore.
Yay.
And, you have made quite a splash in your couple of UFC fights. Win over Beck Rawlings and a really big win over Paige Van Zandt most recently. So you are in a pretty incredible spot in your career right now. So...
Come on, that's solid, dude.
And this is where originally I told him that I need to just follow you around and
edit.
write down the crazy shit you say, the Frank Mirisms, and write a book. Because I think it would be a very special book.
I think you should release it after he passes away.
Right? Yeah.
Afterward, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right. Afterward is
Well, it
the
was like
time.
after he saved Lamar Odom's life, right? When Lamar Odom, the guy that was banging Khloe Kardashian, he passed.
I work in a brothel.
So he did a bunch of
He
coke.
shoots porn. I work in a
Wait,
brothel.
so what? I'm so lost right
So
now.
the basketball player that was dating one of the
Yeah, that was-
Kardashians,
yeah.
he OD'd at the brothel, and lo and behold, he was the one that came in the room, saved his life.
I happen to be there.
Came in the room after he came in the room?
Yes.
Yes.
Hey.
Boy.
Dude, we like you.
I've been trying to.
You're gonna
write
be a
jokes
regular on the
about
show.
this.
Yeah.
I've been trying to write jokes about this for 2 years, and I've never thought of that one.
That was a good one.
This is actually how comedians have to handle this properly.
Okay.
I have to now ask you.
You may use that joke.
Thank you. Thank you.
Anyway, I want to hear the rest of the story.
Oh, so I hear on the news, and he calls me up. He's like, "Hey, this is what's going on," and my phone's blowing. I'm like, "Oh shit, this is crazy." So I'm looking at him, going, "Oh man," because he's still, I'm like, "Can we tweet? Like, we need to change. Like, this is the perfect opportunity. Like, I'm into memes and stuff. Like, this is the opportunity to go instead of party like a rock star, party like Lamar Odom. I mean, $75,000 in hookers, and you OD like." That's a good night, like he partied hard. He texts me back. He's like, dude, he's still in a coma. I'm all,
Yeah.
too soon, huh?
And I'm at the hospital. Like, let me at least get out.
We don't even know if he's going to
Work.
live.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let him wake up first, and then
Let's
say
see if
whatever
he's
you
not
want.
brain dead before we start cracking jokes.
Yeah.
All right, so now
So-
that we have a black hole in our show.
That's okay. No, because I can fix it. I'm a professional. So, so that win over Paige Van Zandt, I mean, obviously did tremendous things for you and your career and that sort of thing. Did it? You don't think so?
It was all right.
You broke her arm. I mean, it
Yeah,
was
but like there's still a lot more attention about her than there was about me, which is I don't really care about it. I was either like I've been rising with or without whoever I'm fighting, But I don't feel like anything spectacular happened just because I beat her.
well,
That is crazy about the female aspect of the sport of fighting is that there could be, Van Zandt is not really known as a ferocious fighter. I don't think anybody ever thinks she's ever going to hold a title. She's in there. She gets her notoriety because of her looks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which
And she's game. Like she's for sure game.
yeah, no,
she's
tough.
Yeah.
She's tough for a cute girl.
Yeah.
That's what people
Yeah,
sit there and
yeah.
go. Because most girls look at her like, the stigma is if you're an attractive woman,
Yeah.
you're going to be a wimp. You're,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Oh, my nails. You know what I mean? Type thought process.
But if you look like a 14-year-old boy, you're going to be
yeah,
really tough.
you know what I mean? Like, obviously you're inked up to look at you like, oh, you're scrappy. You're like, oh, no shit, she has ink on her face. I can see that. You know what I mean? Like, you obviously look like, you like to throw down, right? Whereas Van Zandt looks like she'd be one of the ring card girls. Like, oh, and she likes to fight too. So then I think it gives her that niche of being interesting. But I think you're right.
for sure.
So getting the victory over, I think they still gave her more attention
Yeah, she got
because
way more attention.
it's like, oh, she broke her arm and she still fought through it. And I was like, oh, okay, the cute girl broke her arm and kept on fighting. And I'm like, but all the fighters would be capable
I
of
don't
doing
Yeah.
see. No, I don't think you're giving yourself enough credit there, though, Jesse. Because to me, I think you've got a fan base where that's concerned too. Like to me, that's a whole like. For you ever see Facts of Life?
No.
Okay, Facts of Life was it was before your time anyway. It was a popular sitcom, like American
How old am I?
sitcom. How old are you?
Yeah.
You're in your late 20s.
Early 30s.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
Well,
really?
you look younger. But it would still be a tad before
little
your
bit
time.
older, yeah.
Yeah. But it was like on that show. It was like this show. It was a sitcom about this girl's boarding school. And you know how there's always the debate about Ginger or Mary Ann, like who do you like better? On that show, you had Blair, but you also had Joe, and I was always a Joe guy. Like it's like Blair was like the blonde like cheerleader or whatever. Joe drove a motorcycle, you know what I mean? Like Joe was like, but there was a whole different kind of appeal with her. So I think there's room for everyone is what I'm saying.
yeah.
I wouldn't worry about that part. Yeah. Now, but in terms of, where it's put you now though, because I mean, it's got you in a nice high profile position against Jessica.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes it's like you gotta, even though you've been fighting for so long, at least there's got to be like that mainstream coming out party,
Yeah,
not just
yeah.
for female. I mean, every fighter's got to
Oh, yeah,
have it,
absolutely.
and I think it seems like that was the fight. That
Well,
fight
yeah,
for you,
it was for
you
sure.
know?
For sure. Because even like after my debut, people still didn't really know who I was. But then once I fought Paige, at least they knew what my name was, whether they liked it or they hated me. At
But
least
still,
they
in
still
that
knew.
fight, do you feel like people are taking away not that they take the victory away from you, but you think that a lot more attention was brought upon the fact that, well, she broke her arm in
Yeah.
the first round. And I get that as a fighter, that sucks. I've seen guys, you go in there like, well, but he blew his knee or scratched his eye, and then people take it from you.
Yeah, but did she slip and break her arm coming into the cage, or
No,
did
she
somebody
broke
kick
her.
her?
Spinning back knuckle.
She
and,
broke it on my head.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, but what I'm saying is, if that was still
kinda
your
funny.
head. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
saying that like if it's in
But
the
see,
fight,
that bit I don't
don't
mind because like
Yeah.
I've had a lot of training partners break their hands on my head because I have a very
yeah?
hard head, you know. So I'm like, I expect it. But yeah, like I got asked a lot more about her arm break than like me actually winning. Yeah.
Then you actually out there competing.
Yeah.
Well,
And I'm
but-
like,
and
go
that
and talk to
sucks, but
Paige
that's what
about it.
happens.
But see, I
mean,
would actually factor that in, but that's still something that happens in fight. You know what I mean? I mean, it's like I would
That's not how
still.
people treat it, though, man. I'm telling you, I exactly know what she's talking
Yeah.
about because I've been in those situations where it's like it's not that you did well, it's
Yeah.
that the other guy.
Oh, no.
stumbled.
I'm
You know what
not
I mean?
saying-
Yeah,
And then they
Yeah.
completely rob you of your victory. It
Yeah.
sucks.
I'm
That's
not-
why I'm so mad when fighters ever come out with injury. Like, look, we're all hurt,
Mm-hmm.
but when a guy comes out after a fight, and goes, "Oh, well, my knee was blown out or I had staph," it's like, dude, stop, man.
Everyone-
like, we're
it
all
happens to
we're all
everyone.
jacked up, dude. And now all of a sudden it's gonna be like, "Oh, well, you really didn't beat so and so. They had staph for 2 weeks."
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, whatever.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying that doesn't happen. I'm just saying I personally don't ever give that any credit.
Yeah.
No,
Because
you
it's-
don't,
Yeah, if
but you
something
actually-
happens.
But you're one
Yeah,
person.
But the masses do.
And you're intelligent, so.
See, I use that injury, like I use the injury or sickness thing whenever I win because then it makes the other person feel even worse about losing to me.
Oh yeah, good one.
I say you call it before the
Yeah.
fight. Like when I have injuries, I'll admit to it before the fight goes.
Yeah.
I'm just like like right
Yeah.
now, my back is messed up.
You ought to
I
do
have
the
no
old-
problem admitting it to people. Like, hey, how do you feel? I'm like, I'm not at 100%.
You know
I
what?
feel fucking terrible.
Somebody should do this one. And you know what? You gave me a line. I'll give you this if you're winning. I'd love to see a fighter like do exactly what you're talking about, like where they're like, not only did I win, but I also had other stuff going on. I'd like to see somebody go, you know what? I did an update on my phone. There was like a week where I forgot this fight was happening. You know what I'm saying? Like we were just talking about forgetting when the weigh-ins is. All right. So, hey, I was going to ask you about this story because speaking of like fighters' woes, you'll probably appreciate this one, Frank. Tell this story about what just happened to you a couple of weeks ago where you got paid for a fight that you had fought
A year ago.
prior.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I fought in Korea.
Oh, you were one of the.
Yeah, and Sarah Kaufman. Yeah.
Okay, I knew about that situation because actually I think we were going to talk about because of Ross.
Yeah, we were going to talk about it in Brisbane. I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because of what happened to some of
Yeah.
the fighters on the card that McSweeney
James,
did on.
yeah.
Fucking.
I told them not to fight on that card. I said that was going to happen.
Dude, I got.
I called the McSweeney
Wait,
one. No.
you
I
just knew people
had
who were
friends
on it.
who fought
Yeah.
on it, and I knew it was going to happen that
Because
way.
you've had dealings with McSweeney in the past.
I've heard rumblings.
Yeah. Well, no, I got to the point where some of the people from England now that I'm friends with, they're like, "Oh, you got McSwindled." I'm like, "Wait a minute, this happens so much that you guys have a name for
It's
it."
a
They're like,
term.
they're like, "Yeah, we call it McSwindled."
Yeah, because it's been a while now, but we talked about that on the podcast.
Oh, you never
when all
paid any
that
of those
He
happened.
guys
just keeps
disappeared.
going from country to country because he was in Thailand before that.
Yeah, he's over
And
there.
then
I think at the
Australia.
AKA.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I didn't realize this was him. So are you saying this was?
No.
Okay.
It just happened to be that Ross and the guys
Got
down
it,
in
got it,
Brisbane.
got it.
It
Okay.
happened there, and then
Yes.
I was trying to I wanted to bring up the issue because at that point, I've always been with the UFC. I mean, I had 2 fights outside the UFC. I mean, I never had an amateur career.
Yeah.
So in my brain, you fight, you get paid. I never even understood the concept that people actually get screwed over.
Yeah.
And so that was the first time I dealt with it. And they're like, "Oh no, this happens all the time on this level." And they're like, "Oh," and then our girl, and they were talking about,
Yeah.
Jessie, got screwed, and she's over in Korea, and I was like, "Oh, can I have her on the show?" But I guess you said that, well, you still might get paid, so you didn't
Yeah,
want to talk
I didn't
about
wanna
it.
do- I didn't wanna
like,
be
well, I don't want to
public
burn
about
them
it,
just
yeah.
yet until
Yeah.
I know for sure. Did you ever?
Well, I finally got paid.
Oh, okay,
like
cool.
3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, a month late, which
But
is
so-
great because I owed a lot of money. So
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, but they didn't give you interest. I mean, it's funny because they'll do that.
I
They-
asked them for a bonus.
Did they?
And they didn't give it to me.
They should, because look, you be late on your car payment and think that are you only going to be able to pay out, like if you pay a year later, there's going to be some fees on that
Yeah,
shit.
yeah.
You know what I mean? And so that's why I wanted to talk about it on our show. That's what we did on the podcast. I had the Panda.
Oh, Anthony?
Yeah, Anthony
Yeah.
came on and talked about it because here, this guy, you train, and there was a lot of people that just never got paid. I mean, all levels of it, and it was just like, it blew my mind. And then it even blew my mind even more that another professional fighter or a retired one, I'm like, you were a fighter. You know the sacrifices, the time off from work, if you have a secondary job that these guys are, preparing and going, and they're spending money on tickets and their family and travel. to not pay them, they're in the hole. It isn't like they just like, well, that was extra money coming my way. It's like, well, no.
Yeah.
You spent money to prepare for this. Sometimes, at that level, you're only breaking even by the time you get paid.
Exactly. And I only took that fight against Sarah. Like, I'd lost the fight before. Sarah had 3 times the amount of fights as me. I only took it because they were paying me really well, and then lost, didn't get paid, and ended up in debt. My manager bailed me out, but it was like, still sucked.
Yeah. That's awful. So that's why the whole thing, that's actually the first time I had heard of you, where your name came up in our conversation. I was like, oh, okay. But then, like I said, you didn't want to come on. So,
no.
And I got it. I was like,
because they were still like, every week they were contacting us going, yep, we're paying you next week. So I was like, I don't want to talk shit about them in case they turn around and go, no, fuck you, we're not paying you.
Yeah, that makes sense. No, I mean, obviously you did choose the right path because you finally got
12
paid.
months later got paid.
Wow.
Yeah, and you still got to talk about it on the podcast. It just has a happy ending.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, did they mention why? Like, what happened?
It was something about investors, same as Mick Swindle's excuse. Something about investors pulled out because they were like involved with the Korean Football League or something, and then they were like, we don't want to put money into the fights, and now they have new investors and they're doing more shows, and I don't know. They want me to come out as a guest fighter for new shows. I'm like, cool, it's 20 grand, you pay me before I leave the country, and then I'll be there, But yeah, they gave us a bunch of different reasons.
And it is a very, very tough business, but it's just the bottom line is if you're going to put on something, you've got to have that. You got to know you got that money, and that's trust.
Why,
I mean, just at least enough to cover,
but
fighter
shows like that
expenses
rely
like
on the
that.
money coming through the door as well
But-
to pay people.
And you can't do that in the States, though. In the States, like now I'm learning more about being a promoter because of the ACB. If I want to put a show on here in Vegas, part of me getting my promoter's license and going, okay, I'm putting this show on, they're like, okay, well, where's the money you're going to pay the fighters with? Like, I have to have the money up front. I can't sit there and go, well, I'm going to pay them after I collect. They're like, no, I don't work that way. You have to have the money to pay everybody first. Show us the account where the money is, and then you can go ahead and put on a show and then, and get it going. But it doesn't work the other way around where some of these other places, Australia doesn't have a commission.
No
that's
regulation.
So they're able to go ahead and do that where it's like, so that's why, again, like that was the first time my brain, I'd ever like, wait a minute, there's a chance you don't get paid.
Yeah, imagine it. Is that why there aren't many pro shows in Vegas? Because it's only really the UFC.
And the UFC kind of basically.
Everyone else is amateur out here.
Yeah, and then and I've heard some rumors and stuff about and now me kind of working through that, they kind of are aware of keeping other people out of here.
Yeah.
So, but I'm going to see if that's really the truth because I've started knocking on the door. Because if that is the case, I'm going to actually make it extremely public. Yeah. Because then I can bring back.
You're not supposed to monopolize.
Exactly. Then you can bring back the FCC again or the Trade Commission and say, hey, wait a minute, that's they're not doing fair business practices here.
Yeah.
You can't sit there and keep me from coming into an area.
Yeah. Well, that's good though that they have that. God, sorry, I'm getting a little.
You all right there, buddy?
Can I take a hit off your water?
Yes.
Sorry. This is what a hell of a time to be out of real water too. We actually have a water sponsor, and we've run out. I'm picking up water this week. Okay, I'm better. Thank you.
There we go.
That's and by the way, same thing if you want to own a brothel. You have to be able to show that you've got the money in the bank. You can't just say, I want a license.
It's kind of funny. They do it for fighters to make sure we don't get fucked.
Yeah. That is 100% true, man. All right, couple other things I was going to ask you about, Jessica, because you're very active on social media. You can follow Jessica on Twitter and Instagram at Miss Jessie Jess. And you're really good at engaging with people. I noticed the other day you got your 49th tattoo.
Yep.
Okay. And there was a photo of that, but there's already plans for the 50th. There's already like, what am I going to do for the golden anniversary tattoo,
Yeah.
right? And you were asking for suggestions.
And everyone's suggestions were fucking terrible.
They were terrible.
Yeah, terrible.
Like, give me a few really bad ones.
It was like I'd read through and just go, no. Like people want me to get like MMA style tattoos, and I don't know if Frank has any of them, but I'm like, I will never put an MMA tattoo on my body, you know?
Okay, yeah. When you say an MMA tattoo,
Like a cage or a glove or
okay,
right.
okay.
My whole
I
back
got,
is a
I
cage.
got a little cage background on my back.
Let me-
Yeah, that's fine. Each to their own. I just like I wouldn't put it in my own sleeves.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't
Yeah.
make sense to me.
Yeah.
I'm tagged up by the wife, so everybody.
Yeah. Don't you know what? Nothing you could say about somebody else's tattoos would be any more uncomfortable than what I bring to this table, because I actually have a joke in my stand-up about a particular tattoo, and to my horror, the first time I saw James without his shirt on, he's got that
What is
one.
the
So,
what is it?
do you want to hear my joke?
Yeah, let's
Oh,
have
yeah.
Is it okay? You've heard it
I've got
before.
thick
He
skin,
hangs
bro.
out with
Yeah.
me,
Yeah.
dude. Come on.
Dude, I've got thick skin. It's all good.
Okay. Well, actually, I think it's a pretty cerebral joke.
I'll probably
I
show the
actually
tattoo.
I actually don't think it's an insult to the tattoo itself, but it's the I won't go into the whole setup for the act, but essentially, my joke on stage is Vegas is a great place that people watch. You see a lot of interesting people. I saw a guy the other day with a tattoo that said, "Only God can judge me." And I thought to myself, well, that's just untrue, isn't it, sir? Because I'm judging your "Only God Can Judge Me" tattoo right here on the south end of the Strip, where I'm seeing it for the first time. Your "Only God Can Judge Me" tattoo looks like you got it in prison after you were judged by an actual judge. Good. All right, it tested
So
well.
you-
You like
so
that
you
joke.
have a
Yeah.
God
And
can
he's
judge
like,
me.
so I don't think it's insulting toward the joke. I just think it's like it's breaking down the thought process. Now,
Yeah.
I personally hope that if I ever look out in the audience and see Jeremy Stevens, he's going to have as congenial of a reaction to that joke as
There
James
you
will.
go.
But I don't have my fingers
I
crossed.
highly doubt.
Yeah.
He's
that.
got the entire back piece.
He's insane.
He's got the. I know. And there's,
Jeremy does?
It's a back piece. It's like it says "Only God Can Judge Me," and then there's like a cross.
Yeah.
And there's like maybe
It's
some barbed
pretty-
wire.
it's
it's
pretty
a
hectic.
whole
Is it
thing.
really? I
yeah.
gotta see that. I
Yeah.
haven't
You should get it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've
Yeah,
got a back.
you got, but you got some
Yeah.
room to work on the front. You could add a lot.
I've
of
got a
that.
little bit in the
Yeah,
front.
yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. So there were bad ideas for the tattoo. Any good one? You didn't see anything?
No,
that
I
was
didn't see
kind
a
of-
single. I didn't see a single one that made me go. They were all like, "Oh, tell me to get a tattoo of my dog,"
Okay.
because my dog's pretty popular, and
Yeah.
I'll get a tattoo of her one day, but it's not.
Yeah.
It's not going to be.
Oh,
this
is that
one.
an Australian blue healer?
Yep.
I had one. It was one of my favorite.
really?
They are so
you told me
fucking
that.
smart. Yeah,
Yeah,
Sophia.
but really naughty.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Do you
No,
take her?
really naughty.
Did I see pictures of you taking? Do you hike her at Red Rock?
Yeah.
Yeah. We
Yeah.
hike our dogs at Red
They're
Rock.
shepherd
yeah.
dogs,
Yeah.
naturally, right?
Yeah.
super
Yeah.
smart.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah,
so
she's
okay,
the
well
best.
that's not bad, but I get it. Maybe not ready for that yet. So
I'll
you
just wait
still
until
have
she
time.
gets a bit older and her color comes through properly,
Yeah, yeah.
and then I'll get her. Plus, I call her my baby raptor because she always nips at stuff, and
Uh-huh.
I have a raptor
Uh-huh.
called Blue that
Oh,
I
okay.
got for her anyway.
Okay. All right.
So,
So
yeah.
you just haven't heard the right suggestion. yet.
No,
You're still
no.
taking suggestions.
I'm still taking. Do you have a suggestion?
Let me give it some thought. Because now that I've met you, like now that I, have more of a feel for like your personality and this conversation and things like that, I will.
Should I get Lamar Odom?
Party like Lamar.
I should
Only
get Lamar Odom.
stipulation is it's got to be like traditional style, but it
Yeah,
can be
yeah.
whatever you want. Like I have really random shit.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Let me really give that some thought. I should get a tattoo of Lamar Odom. I mean, that is the only. Hopefully, I'll live the rest of my life and never hold a like almost dead guy in my hands again. But that was a kind of a life-changing experience. Yeah, that dude. And the weirdest thing about that, we did not plan to talk about this, but we've talked about. it
You're in
before on the show.
a room with a 7-foot professional athlete who's drugged out of his mind, dying, and you
Yes.
have half-naked prostitutes running around screaming.
True.
What
Very
was
true.
weird about the situation?
I was the voice of calm. The 911 call is on the internet. You can look it up. You can hear. You can literally hear. We should play that call sometime.
Yeah.
because you can hear.
We haven't yet?
You can hear the. You can hear the chicks screaming.
Oh
in the
well, now we
background
have the YouTube
while I'm,
thing.
like, super
we
calm.
should put up the reenactment that they had, so
right.
everybody can
Is
see
there
the
a
actor.
reenactment?
Yeah, they did. Well, because he's famous, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? So they did they got the actor who played
Jesse,
Richard.
have you ever met anyone who had someone play them in a crime scene reenactment? Well,
I have
now
now.
you have. Look, it's a Reels channel shot it. It's REELZ.
Okay.
Look up that like Lamar Odom.
You
We'll see
don't
if we
just
can
have it
find
favorited on every
right.
computer
I know
you
I
touch.
should,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, I'm far more modest
Actually,
than that. Yeah.
let's pull it up now, right?
Yeah, no, he's dead. I'll have Mikey look it up. Why did we bring that up? Because I did have this thought during that whole like weird process that this guy and I are sharing this moment that is changing both of our lives. Like he may not live, and I'm thinking I'm like trying to resuscitate this guy that's not going to live. But the weird thing was he was already in the coma. So only one of us was there to experience it. Like I've always wanted to
Yeah.
have a conversation with that guy and
But
go,
it was still his experience.
Right.
Yeah.
Like you and I experienced something together that only I remember, but I'll never forget. And you were there.
He hasn't
There's
even
a
contacted you
lot
to
of
thank
dark
you.
jokes.
No,
that we
and I
can
have
make
another.
about this.
You should come see my stand-up.
I have
'cause
an issue with that.
I have another. Thank you
sorry,
for
guys.
that.
Sorry, guys.
Thank you for that. I actually have a joke. Yeah, I tell a joke.
Not
about
only
that.
did he save his life, but also too like didn't throw him under the bus because
Yeah.
you got to realize because of being the Kardashian's
Yeah.
husband, he had TMZ and every other network coming out of offering him $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 for security footage, for any kind of information to help them for their coverage.
Yeah.
Dick
And-
move, Lamar Odom.
And Lamar wasn't. It's like he's on Lamar's payroll, and it's like, well, you have loyalty to him. Just genuinely, one of the rare human beings in the world, just out of being a good person.
Yeah.
Richard decided not to bang him out and not take the money.
Yeah.
No, I
Well,
mean,
thanks, Frank. That's right.
Just look at how most people are on the internet. I mean, you see some people getting jumped or something happening crazy. What's the first thing everyone does? Whip out their phone.
Yeah.
How easy would it have been for you just to pop your phone out, get a quick screen?
That's a crazy thing. So I'll tell you something about what happened with that.
So
That's
I
selfie
did.
time, right?
No.
Hey, that's big money right there,
So
man.
I got
There
a
are
call.
people that would have taken a selfie.
100%.
You're
Yeah.
right.
100%.
Laid down next to him like that. Boom.
Dude,
How much money would
I
that
don't
selfie
doubt that
bring?
at all.
I can tell you because they were offering like what was happening was over the course of the couple of days after it happened, all the tabloids came and were covering, doing stories. And when I was at the hospital, I got a call from the National Enquirer, and the guy said to me, "Are you in the room with Yeah, I'm here." Like they really thought he was going to die at that point, and he's like, "Oh, okay. Well, can you get a picture of him with like all the tubes coming out of him?" And I was like, "No." Like, no, I can't do that. And he's like, "Oh no, we're paying. And it was like 20 grand, 30 grand. I mean, there was a lot of money.
30
Yeah,
grand.
and I was like, I was just, I mean, I knew that.
Bro, unless you're in my circle, I'm taking a photo.
I would do that.
Because I know they would do it to me.
Yeah.
That's my
Yeah.
thing. I'm like, if I was in the same situation, if it wasn't one of you guys, somebody else I was an acquaintance with, they absolutely would bang me out.
I
Come
actually
on.
had one of those tabloid producers at the end of the whole thing tell me, he actually told me, he goes, "If I can ever do you a favor, let me know." He goes, "Because you're the only person we've ever dealt with in these kind of scenarios that like didn't take money from us, that we would pay it because they budget it, like they have it in their budget and everything." Yeah, I'm not totally. You know what I do to you? I've warned you about
Yes.
this on the show. We've had the conversation about David Carradine, the autoerotic asphyxiation.
Oh, yeah.
How he died. And so one day, I think we were in the car, so we were road tripping, and Frank's like, "Dude," he's like, "if you ever find me like that," he's like, "cut me down and pull my pants up before my wife finds out." And I go, "If I ever find you like that, I'm stringing you up and pulling your pants down." That's the kind of friend I. Here's the reenactment. Now, there's someone playing Lamar.
Are you
there.
manager?
Yeah.
Yes. Well,
Yeah.
it's been a while since I've seen this. We're going to
You are
have to
manager.
relive it. But I think that they did call me the manager. And then she's playing the role of Ryder Cherry, this blonde girl up here.
And already it's inaccurate because she's wearing more clothes than.
That's true. They were wearing like nothing but high heels. Okay,
This audio
let's
might not be
go ahead
good.
and play
Hold on
this
just a
here. Can we
second.
hear it?
Oh, it's good.
Oh, do we not have the audio up? I can faintly hear it.
It's the 911 call that saved Lamar Odom's life.
Pause it for a
Hollywood
second,
911
Mikey.
has
By the way, okay, so here's what's happened with the 911 call. They replicated the 911 call.
Okay.
Yeah, that's.
I was going to say, because that was
yeah,
a woman's
that wasn't
voice.
me. But if the real 911 call, if you look up on the
Hi, my name is Richard Hunter.
yeah, that wasn't me. But you'll see the guy. Okay, go ahead and roll it so you can at least see the guy that plays me.
Okay.
You can tell me how they did with the
I
casting.
stayed with him, and Monica ran to the
Now that's the
front
real
row.
girl. That's
Odom was an
Ryder
infamous
Cherry.
Vegas brothel at Club Ranch.
When Lamar got here, we all did the lineup.
That's Monica
and he picked
Monroe.
me and Ryder. And that's when we did our negotiation.
Lamar paid a whopping $75,000 for a week-long stay.
Damn.
We never
Yeah, no.
did anything sexual, anything.
Half the time, he wanted time to himself. And we kind of thought that's pretty weird.
I've never had somebody pay to not have me in the room.
Later on, the women found Odom unconscious and called 911.
From the time he went to
Here's
bed
me.
in the early morning
You
hours.
say, wow, he looks just like you.
Okay, this is me. That guy.
Find a guy with a ponytail.
Yeah, I mean, they sort of tried.
I was so scared. Is this guy gonna wake up?
Pause
You
it
could
for a
have told the
second,
guy to
Mikey.
shave.
Now, can you back it up 2 seconds? Now, this really happened. Okay, so but I'm going to tie this back into MMA because when I found him on his back, and I had to get up on the bed, I actually got him in this kind of like weird side mount to keep him from flopping back over and asphyxiating.
You mounted him almost like S-mount, right?
Yeah,
Just,
right,
Like, pull
right.
him up with the knee underneath.
Yeah, because I had my, and he's a giant.
Wait, so you were sitting on him?
Oh yeah, yeah. When I kicked him over on his side, shit just came out like blood, vomit everywhere. Yeah, it was ugly. And so I got the phone in one hand doing 911. I've got him in that S mount to keep him on his side. So this part of it did really happen, like the way I got up on the bed. However, this got, first of all, I would never wear leather. I'm a vegan. If I had a beard, it would not be that neatly manicured. I don't like those like neat trim beard lines.
Like
But-
the douchebag stuff.
Yeah, they clearly just went with a guy with a ponytail.
Yeah.
I have always, Jesse, wanted to find who this guy was and interview him about his process. Like, did he research me? You know, what did
How
he
did he
really
get
put
in
into the role? Yeah. And I'd also like to see the guys they rejected at the auditions, you know? All right, go ahead and let it roll there, Mike.
Wake up.
I really feared that he might die in my hands.
All I could do was just pray for him.
Is that actually what they were doing?
This man be
Yes.
Standing there
Except they were
silently?
completely naked. Yeah, thank you, Mikey. Yeah, they were like clinging to each other like this, except they didn't have any clothes on. And
Did he really pay? I mean, I know he paid $75,000, but he really wasn't having sex with them.
that's what they say. I mean, what happened was he ran his card for $75,000. And that was gonna be for 48 hours, and then he was gonna re-up. He was gonna
chose
spend more.
drugs over sex.
Yeah, that's when you know you have a problem. Indeed.
Yeah, no.
Did they give that interview after he was conscious? Could he
yes.
have paid them off to say, don't say that we had sex?
Well, here was the interesting thing.
I would have paid them and said, please say I did.
Yeah,
I don't wanna
exactly.
feel
Don't
like a
tell him
chump.
I rented you for $75,000 and we didn't even do anything.
Right?
Well-
Like, I mean, that's kind of chumpish. It's
Bitch
like,
move.
thank you.
I'll tell you something funny that happened about that, though, was that when it came out that he had paid $75,000, the Kardashians automatically started saying that he must have been a victim of fraud, like after he went into a coma, because they could not fathom somebody spending $75,000 at a brothel, but it happens. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not, that's probably the most crazy example I've ever seen of it happening, but I know people that have spent that kind of money. So, yeah, I mean, they're just not
I've
always
seen it,
super,
yeah.
famous people.
I mean, in the
Wait,
club,
do
we've
you
ran-
work in a brothel as
I
well?
worked at a gentleman's club for a long time.
Yeah, we were at the Spin Rhino. I mean, I ran cards for $10,000, $15,000, $20,000.
Oh, yeah.
I watched video game creators drop $90,000 in 3 hours.
Oh,
Jesus.
you got my record.
No, it was the
Yeah.
craziest thing I've ever seen. Yeah, I mean, both
20
the girls,
grand's my
both the
biggest
girls
I've ever
walked
brought.
out with 30,000 each, and the rest went to bottles and service fees and the host and everything
Holy
else.
shit,
Yeah.
I need to be a stripper.
Yeah. Well, here's what I
good
tell.
and bad.
Let me tell you, Jessica. Here's what I tell the girls at work. I tell them this. I say there is no such thing as easy money. I say it every day. There's a reason why it pays a lot of money to clean up a crime scene. You know, every day isn't going to be a bloodbath, but sooner or later you're going to walk into Sharon Tate's house. You know, you're going to earn your money. It's either today or later, but you earn it. And boy, some of the stories those girls have. The ones that freak me out are the ones, not so much the amount of money they pay, but when a guy comes in and drops just a crazy amount of cash to have something horrible done to his
Yeah.
balls.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
he just wants somebody
Smash
just
on
like
him.
kicking him or just, like things that I spend a lot of money in quality cups to protect, to avoid.
Yeah.
You hear those stories and you're like, I don't want any part of that. All right. Okay, next question for you. Jessica, as we get to know each other a little bit better. Now, this will really determine what I think of you on several
all right.
levels,
No
Jesse.
pressure.
All right. As a native of Australia, Bon Scott or Brian Johnson?
Bon Scott.
Yes! Yes! Bon Scott all day. That's all right.
For the rest of us,
The two singers of AC/DC.
Oh.
Bon Scott was the first singer.
The original.
Yeah, the original.
An
You know,
Australian band? I didn't know that.
yeah, you know.
They're like the most famous Aussies to
yeah.
ever live, ever.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I was gonna say, are you into rock? Is that how you knew that? But that's just they're that
I always
famous?
used to walk out to them, like for my international fights,
okay.
because they were most famous. Aussies.
Which song
Gotcha.
did you use?
I walked out to Back in Black, and then I walked out to my last one was Shook Me All Night Long. Yeah.
Yep.
you go.
Yeah. Bon was the first lead singer. He died of alcohol poisoning right around 1980 probably, and then Brian Johnson took over after that. Now, what do you think about? Of course, now Brian Johnson is out of the band, so there's they did a couple of select dates with Axl Rose guest vocaling. You don't like that idea?
I'm not a huge fan of Axl Rose.
Yeah, yeah. What would you like to see him do? Do you think they should keep
Retire.
going? It's about time to retire.
Yeah.
You got one original guy left in the
Yeah.
band, in the schoolboy outfit.
Yeah, like you got to leave it now. You know,
Yeah.
they've done such great things that I feel like it's like doing 28 Fast and the Furious variations.
Mm-hmm.
You know, at some stage you just got to quit.
I am 100% with you, though. Bon Scott was a poet. Like, they're both great. They're both great singers. But Bon Scott is a lyricist. I mean, to me, he was like a harder rock version of Chuck Berry, in
Yeah.
his lyrics. He's tremendous. Frank, what are you doing about your walkout music? Are you doing your normal
I'm
song?
going to Amazing again.
Yeah.
I think, you know what, at this point, like, 'cause for a while there, I used to kind of like switch it up and go to that one a majority of the time. But I think now, because of so many years of fighting, I'm known so closely related to that one.
Yeah.
That now I'm just going to keep it for the rest of my career.
Who is it? Who does it?
I think it's Kanye.
Kanye.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Kanye with Young Jeezy in it.
Okay.
Thanks.
I took a vote when we were talking about it, about a month ago when we were at No Regrets, and we were talking about your walkout music. So I took a vote on my Instagram, and I asked people. I put your three main ones: the "Hate Me Now" by Nas, "Amazing," and then "Money" by Macklemore.
Yeah.
So I put those three up, and "Amazing" and "Hate Me Now" tied. But actually, "Hate Me Now" got one extra vote. So. But they were neck and neck, man. Yeah, I mean, everyone. Those are your two songs that everyone
I'm gonna stick to
associates.
Amazing.
Yeah.
The worst possible scenario I could imagine in our friendship is that Paul Stanley comes to you and he says, "Frank, I know you got your next fight coming up. I was inspired. Kiss just recorded this song in the studio. It's you. It's your theme. It's for you." And for Frank to look at him and go, I think I'm probably going to stick to Amazing.
Yeah, I'm gonna stick to Kanye.
Yeah, I was just about to say.
Yeah. Would you give it consideration if that
Of
happened?
course I would. Come
Okay.
on, man. I'm easygoing.
All right.
I didn't even know that. Who's the other guy?
Or Nas.
No. Who's on the one with Kanye?
Oh, Young Jeezy.
I didn't know
I didn't know
either.
that.
Young Jeezy.
You know who that is?
Hey,
Yeah.
Listen,
Stupid name.
Young Jeezy's up there in the rap game.
But I mean,
Is he? Is he one of the big ones?
Man,
Yeah.
Yeah, man. He's been around for a long time. He's good.
I have always dreamed of pissing away my fortune promoting a music festival. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to call it Lil Fest. And I'm going to have all the Lils perform.
Every single
Yo.
one.
Yeah, all of them.
Listen, you might want to edit that out of the podcast. That's a good idea, man.
Yeah, isn't it?
That's a great. There's
Lil
a lot
Fest.
of really good littles out there.
Yeah.
man. Yeah.
And the trick would be to figure out what little headlines over another, you know? Because, I mean, like Lil Wayne might be one of your biggest ones.
Sorry, just because I'm juggling multiple things.
Yes.
Do you want to go to the movies with us tonight, too?
Nah, I got to go to the house, take care of the dogs and stuff, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't been home all day.
Don't ask me, because clearly I'd be your second choice.
Well, no,
He's
but
sitting
I know
right
you're
here.
staying here.
Oh, you already have a date for the prom? Yeah. You want to go to the prom? Yeah.
No, I'm trying to figure out how I'm getting back to my house right now. 'Cause
Oh,
I
okay.
rode back here with him, and I know you're going to stay here to finish this. Do you want to? We can wrap up the podcast and leave in the next 5 to 10 minutes.
Yeah, that'd be okay.
Do you want to go to the movies with us and go see? What time does Jen get off?
Out of town.
Oh, she's out of town. Come to movies with us.
Okay, maybe I will. Maybe I will do that. All
But
right.
I just got the text from the
Any plans for the evening you need to sort out on the air, Jesse, while you're at this? By the way, Jesse.
would you like to go to the movies?
Yeah, here.
I've got a Pitch Perfect party on tonight.
That's my daughter's favorite.
It's my favorite too.
Yeah.
A party?
Yeah.
Like you do a little viewing party?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. Cool. Now, was that what you and your housemate were going to do? That you were going to
That's
have to
what.
fork-
One of my other friends. Is
Okay,
doing
you
it.
worked
Yeah,
out.
yeah.
Good. Because I
Can
was
you
going to
sing?
say,
Hey.
Can you sing?
Terribly.
Oh, don't worry. I can't. I mean, there's a reason why I don't understand music.
I like
though.
to think I can sing. My whole
Yeah.
family can sing. I'm the only one who can't.
oh, wow.
Yeah.
Huh. Are you the best fighter, though, in the family?
My brother came to kickboxing with me for a little while, and he was pretty good.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But
Okay.
now he just takes a lot of steroids and lifts weights. So.
Oh. All right. Well, I was going to tell. I just wanted to
Looked
make
apart?
sure we all gave her proper credit because she told me she was foregoing plans this evening to
No, I
sit
just
around
said.
with
I
us.
just said, are we definitely happening? Tonight?
Yes, that was a fair question after what we put you through. Yeah, she wanted to make sure she wouldn't be sitting home alone on a Saturday night, which is.
I'm also not adverse to sitting at home alone on a Saturday.
Well, yeah, but that's why you've got this visa issue now, isn't it? Yeah, we have to deal with that.
Nice tie-in.
Call that a callback
Yes.
in the stand-up comedy community. All right. Well, it has been a tremendous pleasure to have you on. Everybody can follow Jessie on Twitter and Instagram once again at Miss Jessie Jess. And
Jessie with a Y.
yes, Jessie with a Y. And of course, her fight coming up in Singapore in June against Jessica I. That's going to be a big one. Any question we should have asked you that we didn't?
About what?
Anything?
No.
Okay. You're not leaving this interview going, I wish they would have asked this one and they didn't.
I just like talking about random shit.
Did you enjoy yourself?
I did. I
Good.
did. I
Okay.
did. And if you ever want me back, I love talking
Yeah, because
about
it was a short
sex and
show,
porn,
so
and that's cool.
Yeah. Yeah. In fact, I mean, we would
It's surprising
actually.
how those topics are. Most people's
Yeah.
favorite, right?
We would normally go longer with
Yeah,
the
no,
show.
it's
So
my
we
bad.
will. Yeah. We will definitely have take you up on that and have you in again. Next time we'll make sure the cables work and so we can see fight. This was the craziest thing too. Right now, I'll say this before we concluded. We were gonna watch the
Well, do you
UFC
want to
on.
tape again tomorrow after we train? Do you want to do it earlier?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe we'll talk about what should do around. You want to come back again tomorrow and do it?
Yeah, sure. What time?
Probably about noon.
It works.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. All right. Let's just do that then. Yeah.
Is it weird to our people that I always just figure shit out on the air?
It's odd, but I think it's part of what makes us us.
Yeah, and I feel like it would make people like you more because you're like letting them into the less organized part of your life.
That's
Plus, I
very
forget
true.
shit very easily, so I have to just, as I think of things, I have to start
Reiterate,
speaking.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I text everyone when I'm in the shower because I'll be sitting in the shower thinking about something. Like, fuck, I got to send that right
Oh
now.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And Frank's got the best situation because he can just say stuff and forget about it. I have to bear the burden of, that one little moment that we're editing out midway through the show. I live in absolute fear of, how like you dream of like, you forgot your test and you woke
Show
up
up
and
to
you were
school
naked in class or
naked,
whatever.
yeah.
I live in absolute fear that I upload some sort of
Something unedited.
The only thing we ever did one time.
That's a teaser to leave the people that you have to really make sure you edit out what I said earlier.
Oh,
in the
it's
show.
like
Fans at home, too bad you can't hear what I said.
It's like
it made Anthony Jeselnik blush.
Yes, it's like I drove all the way across town and realized, my front door is open with a loaded gun on the stoop or something. You're like, I have to turn around and get back
That's
quick.
not that bad of a feeling.
The only time we ever did that was it wasn't that bad, but I do remember we uploaded an episode because what Frank will do is whenever something comes up, he'll just go, "Hey, pause! Can we pause for a second?" And we had trouble getting on the internet, and I realized we inadvertently gave out Frank's Wi-Fi password because people were texting about that, but they'd have to be out or tweeting about it, but they'd have to sit outside your house anyway. So if they're there, we've got bigger problems with the fact that they're trying to log onto your Wi-Fi. All right, James, how can they find you? How can they follow you?
I'm on Instagram at the Sneaker Black Belt.
That's it.
Wait,
And-
you're actually a sneaker guy?
Yeah, big time.
That's fucking
Absolutely,
dope. I'm going to
yeah.
follow you.
Yeah,
Oh
absolutely.
yeah.
I just bought a bunch of like old school Air Maxes before my house got robbed
nice.
in St. Louis, and they took everything.
Oh,
took
man.
everything.
Oh, you guys will be able to talk for hours.
Yeah. Yeah, talking to James about shoes is like talking to Frank about guns, where at some point it's like they're speaking, it's like a different language. Yeah.
I know nothing about guns. We won't have that conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I don't either.
I've
but,
never even seen a gun.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had never seen a gun.
He's like, I've got one.
Oh boy, you have the reaction that I have. Yeah.
You really never seen a gun
I've
before in your
never
life?
seen a gun.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, we don't have them in Australia.
Wow. So the gun's safe.
I know.
So look,
I'm with you.
He took all the bullets out, so it's safe.
There you go, your first gun.
That's fucking crazy. It's like
It's unloaded.
So that's called. That's a
I know,
revolver.
but this just.
that's really weird.
I think it's unloaded.
I'm like,
Is that on a
I'm
bolt
so,
on?
I'm so nervous.
I'm with you. No, listen. Before I knew this guy. Now I'm from Texas,
Yeah.
and I had never shot a gun. I'd never held a gun, and the first time I ever did, I've only shot a gun twice. And
Do you always have that in your crotch?
What was in my belly?
In my belly? It's in
pelvis.
my belly.
Yeah.
My bad.
he's always very well armed.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really tough. But I mean, despite being from Texas and all that, I had never held a gun. I had never shot a gun until I started hanging around Frank. And I fired one twice.
A martial
But
artist needs to know how to use all weapons.
yes,
I
yes.
have a huge Bowie knife in my car.
There you go.
And a cattle dog. So I'm
Yeah.
like super Aussie
That's a start.
in America.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd ever do the gun.
Yeah, no, I'm the way. In fact, the way you react to this is I don't know if if you started some day one on this show, maybe you know this story, but our good friend Brendan Schaub, who at the time I did not know, we did a swap, we'll call Swapcast, where Frank and I did a podcast with Brendan and Brian Callen, and so we're all four of us in the room together. And Brian is just enamored with Frank and the guns and the man crush. And, oh yeah, show me what we'd do if we were attacked by ISIS, and you'd pull out the 6-shooters and this whole thing. And so we're in the dressing room at the Hard Rock, right? And so Frank starts demonstrating, I'd be behind this pillar, and then I'd whip out, and then and Brian's like, oh yeah. And Brendan, all 200 and whatever 40 pounds of him, leaps on me.
No, they're like shoulder to shoulder, like this.
Yeah. Yeah, look, we're holding on to each other.
Yeah.
He's like, and Brendan's like, dude, I know we just met, but this shit scares me. I'm like, me too. It's okay, me too.
That's
Yeah.
a real
Listen.
meet cute.
It was. Now we're buddies.
I'm pretty good with guns. My first time going out when I came out to Vegas and stayed with Frank, my first time us going out to a club, we're driving out to the club. I'm in the back seat, and he hands. I mean, it was like in a movie, heading to go rob some people. He looks at me and he's like, "You need this," and he turns around and he drops a revolver in my lap, and I'm like,
What
"I've been
the
around guns and
fuck?
stuff." He's like, "Make sure you have that on you tonight." Like, all right, sounds
Like
good.
you guys
man.
were going to do a job.
No,
or
I'm
something?
sitting there. I'm like,
Where are we
I
going?
need it. Yeah.
Oh, we're just going in and out.
I used to even be more paranoid than I am now.
Yeah,
And if I was
yeah,
to
he's
hang out with
gotten a lot more
individuals, I wanted
relaxed.
to know that we were all armed. Because a small armed group of men is more dangerous than a single guy. Who's
Oh yeah, no, he went into telling me that if something did happen, make sure
Yeah.
we didn't stay together, make sure we, very
Spread
tactical.
out.
Oh, so you had
very
a full plan.
very
everything.
tactical.
Yeah, you
You're
gotta
a
think
handyman to know.
Absolutely.
All right. Frank, tell him two things. Tell him about the Amazon banner on the front of phoneboothfighting.com.
Click on phoneboothfighting.com, go to our webpage, click on the banner that says Amazon, takes you to the Amazon page. You can do all your shopping for your wants and needs, and a small percentage comes back to us at the show. Help us out at no extra cost to you.
That's it. And also tell them how to follow Phone Booth Fighting on social media.
We're on Facebook and Instagram at Phone Booth Fighting, and Snapchat, Twitter is just Phone Booth Fight.
Guys, do us a favor. Go to iTunes, look up Phone Booth Fighting, click on the 5 stars. That helps us stay at the top of the ratings and the rankings. And if you have an extra moment, write a favorable review. We like to read those on the air. Maybe we'll do that tomorrow. Maybe we'll read a few reviews since we're going to tape another episode tomorrow. The most important thing you can do, of course, is tell a friend. Just share Phone Booth Fighting verbally with somebody. Tell them about the podcast if they're a fan of mixed martial arts, or maybe they're just a fan of good conversation, as we demonstrated dually on this episode. So I guess until tomorrow, we'll all reconvene here again.
You make it back to James?
What? Yeah, absolutely.
That's
right.
Same bat time.
He's got to get on top of me again in the morning. For James Horn, for Jessica Rose Clark, for Frank Mir, I'm Richard Hunter, and we'll see you next episode right here on Phone Booth Fighting.
And Mikey. I'm here.
I'm here.